Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Alex Levin on the line, and he's Chief Pediatric Ophthalmology and Ocular Genetics over at Flom Eye Institute over at University of Rochester. And this episode is part of our Eye Connections Miami series, where we're being the best of those that attended and participated over in Eye Connections that took place in Miami. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about here today. I'm excited to get into this. We'll talk about low-cost open access gene therapy to cure and prevent blindness, and also how to make some of these treatments affordable, maybe for low-income countries where blindness burden is even higher, where the blindness burden is even higher. So we'll get into that and more. But Alex, first thing first, the Eye Connections event in Miami. I want to know the backstory. Is this your first time going? Have you been in the past? Like, what's the connection?
Well, it is my first time going, and the connection is actually personal. My brother, Bill Luderman, is one of the organizers of the event, and he knows that I've been doing philanthropic work for a long time, and they have their Funds for Charity program, and he invited me to attend and check it out, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing. So since your brother's involved, you've been around, maybe the first time attending, but you've been around this for a while since the beginning. Is that accurate, or I just want to make sure I'm not...
No, it's the first I've heard about it, the first I've learned about it, and the more I learned, the more impressed I was, and it made sense to make the trip, and it was very, very educational.
I love that it's your first time, by the way. It was my first time covering the event, so I learned about it as I went there the first time, and as I've been doing these interviews. I'm curious, obviously you've been to many other events, other things. Like, what made this different? What made it unique for you, the whole experience?
Well, I live in the world of medicine, in the world of treating patients and doing research and teaching. This is a totally foreign experience for me. This is a world I've never been in before. It's the financial world. My work is largely based on philanthropy, but to be in this kind of environment, to see what's going on the other side of the world, was really eye-opening. And the fantastic charitable work that some people are doing was also great to hear about. So this was a completely new experience.
Amazing. So let's switch this up a little bit here. The Flom Eye Institute at University of Rochester. Maybe start a little bit with your work and an introduction to the Institute.
Okay. We are the major eye center west of New York City, covering all of New York and the region. We're an academic health science center. The Strong Memorial Hospital is known to many as the flagship institution of the University of Rochester, and Flom Eye Institute is the Department of Ophthalmology freestanding within the university. My work as an ocular geneticist is largely centered around developing treatments for patients who have genetic causes of retinal degeneration. The retina is the inner lining of your eye. It's the film in the camera. And there are many, many different genetic disorders that cause that to deteriorate over time, robbing people of their vision. And we are just on the cusp and the frontier of solving some of these problems after decades and decades of watching people go blind.
Wow, that's amazing. And what update us on this? Because I'm interested, especially because we're our conversation also talking about how to make some of this affordable and accessible to more. Like, give us a little bit of an update of exactly where we are with that.
Sure. So it was around 2007 that the first gene therapy in the human body was approved by the FDA, and that was for a drug called Luxturna, which treats a congenital form of blindness where kids are born, they can barely see a hand waving in front of their face. And with this treatment that was developed at the University of Pennsylvania, this treatment can be injected underneath the retina using a virus, just like the common cold. The common cold gets into your nose and infects the cells of your nose, and it spills its guts inside and causes all the symptoms, right? You get a runny nose, you sneeze, and all that. We can take that same virus, we empty out its guts, and we put in new guts. The new stuff we put in is the new gene to replace the broken gene. We inject that virus underneath the retina, and it infects your retina cells, the cone and rod cells of your retina, instead of infecting your nose. And then the kids start to see again. It's really dramatic. It's really amazing. That treatment was developed and bought by a pharmaceutical company, and it cost approximately $1 million per patient. that's not sustainable, right? Not only is it not sustainable in the United States, it's not sustainable, especially in low-income countries. So we've worked very closely with the University of Iowa, my colleague, Dr. Ed Stone, and we have come up with a method using philanthropy to fund our research with no medical industry, no drug companies, to develop the very same treatments without any patent, open access. Anybody can have it. We can do that same drug. We can make that same drug for $50 a patient instead of $1 million. So that's really the crux of what we've been doing. Now, there's many, hundreds of disorders like that one which that treatment treats. And each one needs its own gene therapy or stem cell in some cases. And trying to do that using a philanthropic approach allows us to do it very, very cheap for the patient.
Man, that's amazing. How long have you been in this work, like on this path? I'm just curious, like roughly.
30 years, 35 years.
What is it? I figured that, and I'm just so curious. What is it like to be like at that point in your life's work? Because I know there's a lot of work to be done. Obviously, I understand that, but even just to be able to see it working, even if it isn't the scalable version yet, what is that like for you?
That's a great question. You know, there's only 20 centers in the United States that are allowed to do that Luxturna treatment, that approved treatment, and we're one of them. And having a father see his daughter regain sight, he came over and kissed my head. I mean, that's very moving. It's hard not to shed a tear. But when I started in this line of work 35 years ago, we were telling patients there's nothing we can do. I'm sorry, you're going to go blind. Now a young kid comes in and we say to them, you're going to be okay. Science is advancing so rapidly. We're going to have a treatment. May not be today, maybe 5 years, maybe longer, but the treatments are going to come. Now we can say with confidence to parents that your child is going to see. And you can't put a value on that. And to be right in the mix of it, to see it happen is pure joy. The problem is there's lots of clinical trials going on right now for many different disorders just like this. But in the pharmaceutical industry, these are going to be $1 million, $2 million, $3 million or more treatments.
Of course.
Gene therapy for a disease called spinal muscular atrophy, which is a life-saving disease, $2.2 million. Sickle cell and hemophilia, $4.4 million. You know, we can't sustain that in the world. And it's also, as much joy as it gives me, it's sad to know that these therapies just will never be seen by the billions of people around the world who have millions of people who could benefit. That's the sad thing. So there's joy mixed with sadness, and that's why we're doing the work we're doing. Yeah.
I could see that. And I'm guessing when you went to Eye Connections, I mean, there was, especially the philanthropy side, I didn't know that was the first, this is my first year covering the event. So as I get more indoctrinated, understanding and everything that's going in that whole funds for charity and everything else that they had going on, I'm like, wow, like you can just see like how, it starts with that, year one, then they do it again. And I heard there was a big like matching grant that was given and some other things that took place. And I'm like, wow, like this is, you can see in like lives. Like I can't imagine, I don't have any kids, but if I did and my child couldn't see and I knew that there was a treatment out there, but I couldn't afford it, like, oh my gosh, right? Like that's just something else.
There's two sides of that coin. One side is you're in a room, a convention center with thousands of people that have tremendous financial ability. Helen Keller said there's a lot of suffering in the world, but there's also a lot of overcoming it. And you also see at that conference the wonderful work that's being done by charities, disaster relief by Petra Denikova, all kinds of wonderful things that are happening out there because there's many needs in the world, right? At the same time, you see that financial capability and you wonder, are people really giving what they can? How do we leverage that to make a difference in the world? On the other side, I spend a lot of my life in the field. I work with an organization called Orbis. Orbis is the flying eye hospital. We have a plane that goes to countries, has an operating room on the plane, an auditorium, and we can do surgery in low-income countries and at the same time teach the fishermen to teach them how to do the surgery. And we do missions all over the world, and now we're focused on ocular genetics, wondering how can we bring these treatments there. And when you're out there and you see poverty and you see lack of access, and you have in your hand this tool, but for the want of more philanthropy, we'll never get there. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the double-edged sword, right? You see the power and the privilege of money. You see the good work people are doing. We have to figure out a way to connect that through something like Orbis to bring it out there and around the world.
And in this work that you're doing, especially, and if I'm paraphrasing this wrong, feel free to correct me, but my understanding is that you're going out and you're creating these therapies outside of the traditional route in order to be able to deliver the treatment for a much more economical amount, and you're kind of like circumventing the normal piece of side of what you do, like the drug company side of things.
Exactly.
So if that's successful, which ideally it will be, then do you see that, and is that as a type of model going forward for other therapies, or is that looking too far ahead? I'm just curious on what you see. Is there a systemic value to all of this succeeding as well?
If you could have the philanthropy to sustain it, that'd be great. Insurance companies would love it, right? And it costs a lot less. There is a profit motive, and the pharmaceutical industries are looking both altruistically to create these treatments, but for the profit motive. So there are forces at play which are going to determine whether this is successful in a more widespread manner. Right now, our philosophy is, I don't care who comes up with the treatment. We just want these kids not to go blind.
Of course.
At the same time, if we can do it this way, more people can get it. And each disease is very, very rare. So even in a trial, you can treat most of the people in the country who have the disease. So that first one, the Luxturna, almost everybody in the country who has the disease has probably been treated, right? So if we can use this model repetitively, so we have a gene that we're set to do. It's hopefully a clinical trial as soon as we're approved by the FDA. It's concentrated in Ashkenazi Jews. That's the most common cause of genetic blindness. It's also in non-Jews as well. But this is a very specific, rare disease. If we can fix this, then we move on to the next gene.
Wow.
And then the next gene, and the next gene, and the next gene. Because making the gene therapy is not the hard part anymore, right? And if we can replicate this philanthropic process to keep the research driven, we can get to our goal. We're in the red zone. We just got to cross the goal line.
I love this. This is a great story, and one that gives me a lot of joy just hearing that story about that, the father that you were mentioning and what that looks like. Like, I can't even imagine. Then also on the personal level for your life's work, to see a lot of people dedicated their lives to certain things that maybe the technology wasn't there during their period in time, right? Or the science didn't catch up. They didn't get to necessarily see the fruits of their labor, but maybe the next generation built on it. And then, ultimately that's how the work was finished. But to be able to see it too, that's amazing. I love it. It's a great story.
Well, we're almost there, and we still need some philanthropy to keep us going and keep us getting there, both for the gene therapy work, stem cell therapy, and for Orbis, the organization that is helping us to put boots on the ground around the world so they can learn about how to deliver this sophisticated care and educate people about genetic eye disease. And keep in mind, speaking of that when these low-income countries, there tend to be higher rates of these diseases. So the burden of disease is actually higher. Paradoxically, they have less access.
Alex, this has been enlightening for me. I learned a lot. I'm sure my audience did as well. If people want to continue the conversation or to connect with you and your team and learn how to get involved or want more information, how do they do that?
Just email me at Alex, ALEX, _Levin, LEVIN, at urmc.rochester.edu. And I'd be happy to talk to anyone who's interested. It's something I love to talk about, and it's a great place. You can check out Orbis at orbis.org, and their affiliated website, Cybersite, CYBERSIGHT.org. That's our educational platform that educates in the low-income countries. But just email me directly. Happy to contact and talk to anyone.
Fantastic. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll add some of those websites into the show notes so you can just click on them and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Yes, you heard me right, daily. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey. We don't want you to miss a thing. So hit that subscribe or follow button. And Alex, thanks again for the work that you're doing. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate the opportunity and great to talk to you.